We're here to talk about the resolution or potential resolution of a very, very serious problem that we've had here in Broward and Dade counties involving the theft of bypass assemblies from backflow preventers. Now, exactly what that is, as everybody knows, in a high-rise building or in a sprinkler building, there are things. There's a sprinkler system. The sprinkler system is fed through the city water supply, and one of the devices that controls that out in the street is called a backflow preventer. And I'm going to show you a picture of it in a few minutes. What's happened over the past several months, and we're going to walk through the process, is there have been thefts of a particular piece of this backflow preventer. What happens is those caps come off and the connections get damaged, the threads get damaged, the fire department can't tie into them to feed the sprinkler system, or kids come along, they throw rocks, they throw debris in there, and it delays our ability to get water on the fire. And when the fire department comes in to tie into that system and to work off that system, there's a good chance there's going to be a drop in pressure, and the ability of the fire department to put the fire out and to make entry to do any kind of rescue is going to be severely hampered. So we're talking about a major, major situation.
It's important to understand on a fire sprinkled building where the water service comes in, it goes through a backflow prevention device. And this mechanism right here is the bypass meter assembly. And in many of the cases that we saw this morning, the arrests on the cases they made, they're stealing this equipment and selling it for scrap. Okay. These valves indicate to the fire department that the system is up and operational. And while the valve being stolen does not necessarily indicate that the system will be totally out of service, it does limit and hamper its operation.
Each one of these devices, the cost of these devices is about $1,500 a piece. To install it costs almost $2,000. So for each one of these thefts that occurred, the business owner or the owner of the building incurred roughly $1,500 to $2,000 in expenses to try and replace this.
What we're seeing in the development field is many of our projects that have been completed for many years now have been hit by recent vandalisms. In Boca, we've been hit twice. In Pompano, we've been hit twice. In Weston, once. In Hollywood, once. And it just becomes not so much a monetary issue for us, but it interferes with people's lives. It could become an issue, whereas if a fire department comes out here and there's nothing to connect to, it could become a safety factor. It's just a big issue for all of us.
Obviously, this is a big issue, as I said, not just financially, but in the way it jeopardizes lives. And the city of Coconut Creek has actually taken some steps in trying to prevent this from happening.
This is the fire department connection, and after we arrive as a fire service on the site of a fire or potential fire, we're going to connect our fire hoses to this device from the fire truck to pump and add additional water to the system. These devices are being stolen as well, so when the fire department arrives, there's nowhere to connect their hoses to. So this is the device that we're actually going to be identifying with a unique number. These do not have any unique number right now. The bypass meters do have a meter number, so those are to some degree trackable. We're going to be installing a unique number on every system within the city of Coconut Creek that we will be able to identify. Should it be stolen and recovered, we will be able to track it to this specific location along with the theft report.
Every time one of these is stolen, there's 2 felony charges. It's brand theft and it's also tampering with fire equipment. So we've had a rash of these being taken, as well as the fire department connections. Coconut Creek, we're glad, is going to identify them somehow. So when we do find them, and how we've been able to identify a lot of these is by serial numbers, and some of the cities keep track of all the serial numbers of the meters. So we can know exactly what business they're stolen from, and now we know who the victim is and are able to return them back.
So in our program, we're going to go ahead and stamp every sprinkler system in the city of Coconut Creek. We have approximately 170 systems with unique identification numbers that will be built into a database. Every year when the annual fire inspection is performed, that database will be verified with the number that we see. This is what it's ultimately going to look like. We believe we're being proactive. We believe that we owe this to our commercial and residences for something so simple that might tie and certainly help prosecution if it doesn't reduce the theft issue completely. We expect that the prosecution will be made easier by tying a specific device to a specific location along with the theft report.